welcome back to my channel. It's Imelda here from Three Scrappy Sisters, and first of all I want to say Happy New Year to everybody out there. It is January the 1st as I am recording this, so it is a brand new year, and hopefully this year we will have lots of awesome videos for you to be watching. So I am starting here with a couple of Studio Calico kits. The first one that I had shown you was I can't remember what it's called. It's from March. And the second one here is from December, and these are, I think, 2016, maybe 2015 kits. The second one here is Lollipop Guild, and I showed you the card, but I can't remember exactly what it was called for the March. But I'm just going to start here with two photos of my kids from, again, as always, ages ago, because I'm not very good on keeping up with my scrapbooking. So I have started with a white background paper, and I am going to use the red background paper because these photos are from Christmas time. So these photos were taken in line while we were waiting to see Santa Claus to get our photos taken. So like I said, I'm starting with the white background paper. But as always, it's not actually a white cardstock paper. It's just the back of a pattern paper that I don't necessarily like. So I am going to use the white side of it. I am backing my photos on some white cardstock, and I always do this only because I don't want to be bothered with cutting right angles. So I always stick them into the corner so that way there's two edges that I don't have to worry about cutting, and then I just cut the other two. So I'm going to back my photos on some white paper, and you did see me stick a white square on the back of the pattern paper, the white paper that I'm using, only because I have the idea that I want to fold over a corner, but because it is not a white cardstock paper, folding it over will allow the pattern on the other side to show. So I just wanted to cover that part of the paper with white so that you fold it over and it looks like it's white. Excuse me. So next I am going to trim this red paper down just because I want a little bit of a white border to go around, and here I'm trying to figure out the fold. So I am going to end up trimming the red paper down just so I have a little bit of a white border around the red, and then I am going to play around a little bit more with the fold. So I do have the initial idea that I want the photos to be on the top, and I want my embellishments clusters to be on the bottom. I am going to back this on some black and white polka dot tissue paper. This tissue paper came from my Felicity Jane kits that I order, and I am going to use the reverse side of it only because I don't want the black to be so stark and the white to be so well, it's really just the black that I'm worried about. I don't want it to be so in your face. So I just start off with roughly cutting it to the size that I want, and then I'm just going to go back and trim it a little bit smaller. It's just easier to trim a smaller piece than it is a small piece from a large piece. Anyhow, so I'm just going to cut that down to size and make sure that it's adhered properly. And just one thing when you're adhering tissue paper, make sure that you, and this is what I always do, if I'm using an ATG, I'm always going to put the ATG adhesive on the photo, not on the tissue paper, because if you try to roll onto the tissue paper, it's just going to rip. It's going to stick, and it's not strong enough to hold down without ripping. So just a word of advice. So I've trimmed one photo, and now I'm going to trim the other one. So the way I place these photos, I'm just going to quickly mention, I'm going to place them not the way that they are right now. I'm going to place, there's one photo where my kids are both looking off to the left side, so I'm going to put that one on the right side just so it's almost like they're looking at the other photo, just to kind of help draw your attention to both photos and not just one. I don't want them looking off into the corner in the middle of nowhere. So I'm simply just going to adhere the red paper down with my ATG, and as you can see, I've left a little bit of a white border around. And then I am going to try and figure out the fold. So I know basically where I want it to fold. I've kind of already done that, but because I had to add a white cardstock behind the pattern paper, and then the red paper is a little bit thicker, it was ending up to be too many layers of paper. It was too thick for me to fold nicely, so I just cut a little bit off the red because it's going to go under anyways. You're not going to see it. So I cut a little bit off of that, and then I just stapled it down. So I'm going to bring my photos back, and now I'm going to try and figure out my title. All the while I'm thinking that I need to figure out what's going to go behind this. So I think at this point that I am going to try and make this gray piece work. I don't know exactly what's written on it. I can't remember. I don't know if I don't end up keeping it, and I don't think I use it because I don't think that it's a winter type words. I can't remember, but I like the way it looks now. I think just at the moment it was bothering me because it wasn't winter themed. So I do cut a little square, and then I'm going to attach it. I think maybe that I'm going to line it up on my grid and then stick it down, and then I end up turning it over and sticking it down. But like I said, it doesn't stay. But this is the process that I went through, so you can see. I am going to warn you a little bit. I did lose half of the embellishment portion of the video, so you don't get to see that. I will show you some close-ups, however, and I do apologize in advance that you don't get to see that, which I think usually is the most fun part of scrapbooking anyways, but I'm really sorry. But continuing on here, so I am going to now work on, I was going to say title, but no, not the title. I'm going to pop these up on some foam just to give it some height and some shadow behind the photos. And I just have some, like a sheet of fun foam. So I'm going to stick that on with my ATG, and just going to trim this down, and that's it. So yeah, that's where I switched them because I noticed that my kids were facing, or Leo at least, was facing off to the left side. So I'm going to bring in these alphas. These are some gold foiled chipboard alphas, and originally I wanted to spell out Santa. I think it was Santa photos or photos with Santa, but I don't have enough A's. I think it just came with one letter of each in the alphabet, and also it was bothering me that the gold was going in all sorts of different directions, so I didn't want that. So I pushed that off to the side, and I'm going to bring in some wood veneer alphas that I have gold embossed myself. So I'm going to put these away, and then you will see. So these wood veneer alphas I got at the dollar store, at my local dollar store, and I simply just stamped with my Versamark on half of the letter, and then I poured some gold embossing powder on it, and then I heat set that for each letter. It took a long time, but I really liked the result that I ended up with. So I am going to go with that, and my title is going to be Xmas Pics, which you will see in a little bit. So right now I'm just working on this paper bow that I also used in my previous video, and it was, again, just a cut file that I had found. I think it was just a template that I googled, and then I traced it in my Silhouette Studio. So I'm going to arrange that, and then I'm going to start thinking of how I'm going to write the word Pics. So I went through all of my thickers, and I didn't like any of them, so I am going to bring out this Felicity Jane stamp alpha set, and I'm going to stamp out the word Pics. So I stamped that out, and then I fussy cut all the way around. I really like these alphas because they have a little bit of a tail because it's a scripty font. So it's got a tail so that you can kind of attach them together, and they go together. So it's perfect. So this is the end of the video. Again, I'm really sorry that I lost some of the footage, but as you will see in the close-ups, I do add just a little bit here and there. I add some Tim Holtz Tiny Word stickers, some Gold Star rub-ons, some Heidi Swapp Color Shine, a little gem, and I do end up with a black polka dot paper behind the fold. And this Heidi Swapp acetate sheet, I think it's supposed to be for a planner kit, but I used it for my layout. So I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I hope that I have inspired you to create something with some of your Christmas photos. Thank you so much and have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye!